Hey guys, welcome to the ultimate in-depth jetpack cat dive guide. I can't speak properly. I'm very tired. But this guide is over an hour long. This will cover every single aspect of her kit. And so I'll try and allocate the video. I'll put like I don't know what you call it, like stamps in the video, so the video is broken down. So if you want to watch a specific section you can, but this is really, it really is, it's gonna explore everything in it. It's gonna min max everything except for tactician. um I don't really think it was that important to cover, but I promise everything else will be covered. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. There is really no other guide like this that is really in depth and like a dude just sitting here and really talking things through and really explaining her kit to the level that I do. So if you guys can send a like, give me a cheeky subscribe if that's not too much to ask. And I really hope you enjoy the video, man. Grab a snack, you know, grab a friend to watch with. I don't know, this is a freaking movie. And yeah. Hey, what's up, guys? Good per sec here. And today we are doing a jetpack guide. Alright. So this little ferocious feline has a lot of things in her kit that makes her very great support. And today we're gonna break it all down, give you all the goods that she has to offer, and by the end of it you'll be an expert cat player. Okay, for some credibility, I have about God knows how many hours I have on her so far, but I have a lot of hours. I peaked champ 4. I had 3 accounts in champ last season. This season, my main account's in champ and my alt account is in GM1, soon to be champ, inshallah. And yeah, so that should give you the confidence to listen to my expert opinion. And yeah, right, so the first part of her guide is we gotta get the basics down. Okay, so we're gonna be talking about her jet fuel consumption, right? So Fika's main movement ability is her permanent flight, and more importantly, her jet fuel, right? You need to be very efficient with how you use her fuel, okay? Much like how fire players are efficient with using the fuel, it's the same way with Cat. You never, ever, ever, and I mean ever, want to be in a situation where you cannot, where you don't have any fuel, basically. Okay, you cannot be zooming around, you know, doing whatever you want and you just don't have any fuel, because you don't get your, you can't use your fuel instantly back when you fully deplete it. Like I'll show you right here right now, it's gone. I'm spamming right click, right, and I don't get it until part of it is like fueled up, right? So in that window of you not being able to involuntarily not use your fuel, you're just vulnerable. You're literally a sitting duck. You know what I mean? Because you have to understand that Fika's, like, although she has a small hitbox, she's still quite easy to hit, and she's not hard. She's not hard to headshot. You know, her when she's like not using her boost, her movement is very predictable. She moves at a normal pace, as a normal 5.5 meter speed target, right? So, you know, a competent cast player, competent Ash, Emre, Soldier, you name it, right? They'll just delete you. They absolutely will if you're playing higher ranks. So in lower ranks, I guess the punishment is much more lenient, but in the lobbies I play on, you just don't want to be caught out with no fuel, man. You'll get tag team, bro. Okay, so you're asking, okay, Perk, how do I avoid that? How do I just not do it? You know, easier said than done. I'll show you. All right, calm down, bro. I got you sorted. So first of all, you should always have just a little bit of fuel left to use it for sort of oh shit sort of moments, right? So you can use your fuel, and right before you reach that red line you see on the right side of the screen, you stop using it. First of all, because if you need to use your fuel right now in that moment, you can, and you don't have to wait for the bar to fill up, so then you could actually use it. So you're not in an involuntary situation to not use your fuel, and you could use that extra speed, like that little speed boost you have left, to find cover, right? So for example, I go in on this target, and I'm using the little fuel I have left to shoot at him. If he starts shooting at me, that little fuel I have left, I'm like, oh shit, and I go behind here, right? Whereas if I used all my fuel and I shoot the target and he shoots at me, I'm like, oh shit. You know, it's much more slower, right? I'm sure I can show a better example than this, you know, because it's a bit of a scatty one still, right? So like here, I use it, I shoot, he looks at me, I'm dead, right? I'm just dead, like, it's not gonna work, right? Whereas if I'm more smart with my fuel consumption, I go on my target and I shoot them, right? And they look at me, ooh, quick, right? It's perfect, right? You can go in and out, right? With effective fuel consumption, you can weave in and out of 1v1s, general fights very easily, very smoothly, and it won't feel clunky, okay? Especially if you want to do drive-bys, right? For example, like, you know, you don't want to fully commit to it, but you want to do a bit of damage, right? So this person here, you're like, shoot, give him a little smack, and you go out, right? You know? So yeah. And I'll try and show some in-game examples for this as well. Okay, so the first example I'm going to show here of effective fuel consumption and not just holding down right click is this example here. So in this fight, I'm helping my Echo find some picks, and I'm literally just following around trying to look for something, look for a pick, whatever, just look for some random ass pressure, right? So here I'm trying to be wary that I know there's a Zarya nearby. I don't want to just spam my fuel because I can just use hard cover and that sorts of things, right? So see, I still have just above half, you know. I was just using the fuel to catch up to my Echo and just try and keep up and to potentially scout as well. And then I see the Zarya looking at me, full beam, and I'm like, oh shit. But because of efficient fuel consumption, I have enough fuel to disengage from the Zarya, right? Although it was very close, if I had just a bit less than what I had then, I would have been cooked. So another example here, just before, just after the fight I just had where I escaped from the Zarya, I see that the Moira is engaging in my search. I go and help her. And I see where she is, and I know she's low because we're shooting at her. I go and speed in, and I stop, see? I let the forward momentum of my speed boost carry me forward without trying to use it because I'm already there. I see the Moira. I can land the shots, right? Just in case somehow she pulls an orb out of her ass and she starts healing herself up, I still have a lot of fuel left to just disengage if I need to. But luckily, my Soj helped me kill her, so it's all good. Okay, so another example here is that my Soj is fighting the Zarya and I'm going to look to help her, right? So I speed in, and once I'm close enough to like effectively duel the Zarya, I stop using my fuel. I see that she's fully bubbled and she's high charged. So with the fuel I have left, I just use it to get out. I can't fight this, and she has a mercy with her. Right. This is what happens when you're caught out with no fuel, okay? This is exactly what happens, right? I died there because I didn't scout properly. and I wasn't really aware of my surroundings. I greeded my fuel consumption on the Zarya, and I got caught out because of it. Okay, so one more example in this is that I see that the Moira is split from her team. I'm gonna try and 1v1. I might win, I might not, but it's just worth to give it a shot, right? So I go in, I make sure to not use any fuel that I have, just in case if things go south and I need to disengage. I don't just fly in behind the Moira and start shooting her. I'm using cover, I'm conserving my fuel, and I'm just going to take the fight without using it, because there's no point. The Moira can just easily track you, and she's got aim assist, right? So obviously it didn't work because she's Moira and I'm Cat, right? I don't have that crazy burst damage, especially after territorial being removed. So I use all the fuel that I have to just get out, right? And see, and she's still behind, but I still have that bit of fuel left to just get away, and now I'm out of her range. Whereas if I used my fuel before that fight, or I used it unnecessarily, the Moira would have been able to catch up to me and just outright kill me. I also want to say as well, to add to the point, is that think of it as you want to get close to your target enough where you don't have to use all your fuel to reach the target, right? So for example, if this is my target right here, I want to be relatively closer to them, so when I do engage while using the boost, if I want to be spontaneous and unpredictable, so if I want to use it here, by the time I reach my target, I don't have that much left. Whereas if I sort of engaged from here, right? I go here, and I have half left, and I can just leave like that, right? Right, so this is the secret sauce tech, okay? It's not called secret sauce, but it's a crazy tech. I've seen lots of cat videos. No one has found this out yet. I'm the first person to do so, okay? So hear me out. So we're going to be using the headbutt as a visual representation of reaching a velocity, like terminal velocity, right? So there's a tech you can do. There's a couple of techs you can do to help you reach terminal velocity quicker, right? So this is how it's going to go. So I'm going to show you an example first of all. Right, my bad, guys. I just had to change the button binds real quick, okay? So you can reach terminal velocity faster. And how do you do that? I'm glad you asked. So I'm going to show you what normally takes to reach terminal velocity, right? So a standard, just look forward and use boost. So it activates around 10 meters, right? So about 10 meters, you reach the maximum distance, right? We'll do it again. About 10 meters, right? It's the same thing, right? Now, if you look down, hold the shift key. So you're looking down, you press shift and W, you actually reach terminal velocity quicker, right? So I'm going to show you what it looks like standard. So we'll do 10 meters, right? 10 meters. So that's about right. So you reach it just before it, maybe 9 meters, maybe 9 meters, right? Just about that. We're going to do it with this tech now, right? So, one sec. That is not, it's, the difference is marginal, but it's there. You need to trust me on this, okay? So even 8 meters, we could do this. See? Maybe even 7 meters as well. Hold on. Let me cook. See? And I'm going to do it without using the tech now, by the way. See? You don't get the swiftness, bro. You don't get the swiftness. Okay, we'll do it one more time. Okay, now we're going to do it with the tech, okay? Watch. There's some real stuff right here, right? 7 meters, you watching? Right? Right, can we even push for 6 meters? Can we even push for 6 meters, right? It might be a push. Even 6 meters, can we push for 5 meters? Right? We push for 5 meters, right? 5 meters, right? 5 meters. So you can cut half of your distance to reach terminal velocity with this tech. And just like you can do it with shift and W, right? You could also do it with spacebar and W, right? So depending on whether you look up and down, so if you're looking down, it's shift and W with booster. If you're looking up, it's spacebar W and booster, right? And it helps you reach terminal velocity a lot faster, and you can go much quicker very soon. I do want to mention that with the speed tech that I showed you about the shift W and boost, you know, so when you're getting, like, when someone's trying to fight you or someone's shooting at you, you can just use the momentum and just get away, instead of just using it normally without using the tech. It's just a bit slower, right? Whereas if you use the tech, right, boom, fast, boom, 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 swiftness, bro. All right, you go super fast, very quick. Also to note that you will reach terminal velocity slower if you go left or right. Okay, so if we were to do this, if we did it as normal, right, so just about 10 meters, if we do it while going left, see, it takes a lot longer to reach the terminal velocity. See, you go just past the 10-meter mark to reach it. So you are incentivized to either use the tech where you do W and shift like this, or space bar and W boost, or you just do this normally. But don't ever try and use boost while you're looking like moving left or right. It's a waste of fuel. Okay, don't forget, fuel consumption is very important, and this comes into play with fuel consumption because you need to use less fuel to reach terminal velocity. And once you reach terminal velocity, you can actually use that momentum to use your fuel more efficiently, and I'm going to move on to that now. Right, so this is going to be called micro tapping, right? So what micro tapping is that you're sacrificing a little bit of the swiftness, the speed, to cover large distances with your fuel, right? So we're just going to use the standard, just hold right click and just go forward, right? And you reach right about there, right? So, you know, very fast, very nice, but the distance is not going to be covered as much, or unless you use this tech, right? So the first thing you need to do is reach terminal velocity, and after you reach the terminal velocity, is you then just keep tapping it. So that terminal velocity momentum, you keep it by just tapping it, right? And you cover large distances. So what does that look like? Okay, I didn't do it properly. All right, hold on. Right. Right. That's kind of big. You know, you cover a lot more distance. You know, you've seen it. You see the evidence, right? Boom shabow, bada ba boom. All right. Okay, so the next tech is the wall bound tech. Okay, this is very similar to the ball tech that ball players use, where they can get an instant fireball when they bounce against the wall. So you can use this tech to instantly change the trajectory of your movement without slowing down or anything, right? So if you was to use the standard like way of instantly sort of change directions, you slow down a bit. Whereas if you use a wall, right, it's snappy, it's quick, you're hard to track, all right? I'm gonna show you again, right? Bear with me, right? It's important that you let go before you hit the wall, okay? To carry that momentum back, because you might accidentally boost back into the wall. So it's important to, right before you hit, you stop, and then bada boom, right? And you can mix and match with it, right? Instead of doing it horizontally, you can also do it like vertically up and down, right? So instead of just doing the standard bounce tech, you can also do it like this, upwards, Or you could also do it downwards, like so. So, okay, I didn't do it right. I chut it out. So, like that, see? So, like, if you're getting shot at in general, you can just be like, oh shit, you know? Or like this, I ran out of fuel, but you get the gist. Okay, so the other one is turning tight corners, like you're on Tokyo Drift, okay? So to help you, like, close LOS on the enemy team when you're getting shot at, when you're at terminal velocity, you need to look at the wall right before you turn around it. So what do I mean by that? All right, Perk, what do you mean? Right, I'll tell you, okay? So when you reach terminal velocity, you quickly look at the wall before you turn the corner, right? I know I didn't do it properly. I checked it out. I do apologize. Right, so this is what it looks like. Right? And you also can combine W and either A or D, depending on which way to turn, to make the turn tighter, like so. Right, so the next tech is the counter strafe tech, okay? So when you play in Fika, right, when you commit to a movement, you sort of glide a little bit before you stop. Especially, it's more prominent when you use your boost, right? So if you want to make your movement a bit less predictable and make them harder to shoot you, when you boost, right, you need to boost in the opposite direction that you were going towards to kill your momentum completely, like so. Right? See? Instead of just doing it like this, we sort of glide and it's sort of predictable. You do this, counter strafe, and you stop dead still. This is also nice if you're trying to like shoot someone, right? So like this ball right here, I'm like this, counter strafe, this, counter strafe, right? You do use a bit more fuel, but you know, for better movement, absolutely should use it. So that's another one. Okay, the next one is manipulating your hitbox so you are harder to shoot. Okay, so Perk, what do you mean by that? If you look at Fika's player model, when you commit to a direction for at least half a second, the character jumps, right? You could see it, right? I'll show you again. Her player model kind of jumps, right? You can use that to your advantage to make yourself harder to hit, right? So when you're shooting someone, you can sort of make your character jump a little bit and you're very hard to hit. You could also look down and melee and then you're just like a nightmare to just land shots on. Like this is, you just can't shoot the cat, right? It's impossible to get headshots on it, right? And you can sort of combine it by you can go like this, you can go down and do it, you know, or you can just normally AD strafe. Another thing is not related to her boost necessarily, but Fika is very good at hiding her head hitbox, right? So if you're going against like high burst damage heroes like Ash, Widow, maybe Freya, right? If you look at Fika's play model, when she walks forward, her head is completely hidden. You can't shoot her head at all, right? Whereas if you move backward, you could just see it really easily. Even if you move left and right, you could see her. Whereas if you move forward, it's impossible to headshot her, right? So especially even if you use your boost, it has a head hitbox. So if you're dueling an enemy and they start looking at you, right? Like imagine this sniper's the Widow and I'm dueling her, right? So you shoot, she's about to shoot, walk forward, right? Sort of walk forward, and when she takes a shot, you go again. She shoots, walk forward. Like with your back facing towards her, right? Against Ash, you sort of just need to kill her straight away. Like, you know, you can't just, like, you know, walk away from her. She'll just burst you down. But something that is quite good to know. confirm a tether with her teammate is really high. Like, it's very generous, right? So you don't have to necessarily see the light, you know, to know that you can pick up your teammate. You just need to hear for that ding, ding, ding. Can you hear that? Not like done, like the lower pitched, right? So I can go just close enough. Can you hear that? I can grapple that teammate. Even though you can't see the light right now, I can grapple on that teammate. Right, so it goes to show you that you don't have to be right on top of your teammate to use the tether. This is a much more safer distance, and also if your teammate tethers from that distance, it slingshots them up. Right, I can't show you because I don't have anyone on to show an example, but because of tether is 4 meters, and if you're slinging from 15 meters, I think it's about 50 meters, right? I'll show 70 meters, but let's say it is 50 meters. It needs to go up to the tether range distance, so it will fling them up to close that gap to reach the 4 meters. So it helps with your teammates' movement to get them out of a tricky situation. Another use for Fika's Lifeline to maximize the survivability if you were to take your teammates out of a tricky situation is to reach terminal velocity first, and then let them confirm you, though that needs a bit of common, but the range, like the cylinder range of her lifeline is really generous, so I think your team will have enough time to react to it. So what do I mean by that is you have your lifeline ready, you come to your teammate that you're coming, terminal velocity, so as they're grabbing, when they attach to the tether, you're already at terminal velocity, you're already going quick, and they'll just get like literally slingshot. They'll just fly away, and it makes them very hard for them to get shot at, and for you too. So you don't want to, when your teammate is in a very bad situation and they need to get out, don't just walk up to them, tether, and then go. You might as well just ask the teammate to just shoot you, okay? You need to first build up speed, and once you build speed, they tether, and you both get out together as so, right? As I told you, it's a very generous radius. Like, even from here, they could tether. Right. Hold on. Like, they could tether from here. It's a massive range. Like I said, it doesn't have to be within the light that it shows. Like, the actual hitbox of it is probably much bigger than that. Right. One thing is to be cautious with her tether, right? So when you tether a teammate, if they ever get stuck behind a geometry, if it breaks that 4 meter distance because they got stuck behind something, you have a very small grace period before that tether breaks because of like server side, like client server side thing, whatever, right? So just keep in mind of how you're carrying your teammate and the enemy team, but I'll get to the catnap section in a bit. But yeah, so be wary. So if you're carrying a teammate and there's a wall coming up, right, just be wary. Go a little bit higher to just get over the wall, or something like that. Like, if I was to carry a teammate here, can you see that ledge right here? If I was to carry them, they can get caught here, so just be a bit more careful. Just take a wider turn when you go on the high ground. I also want to say, though it may not be too important as the height for Lifeline, you can also do it while you're on the floor. You know, because a lot of people think, oh yeah, because I feel like I have to tether, like this is the optimal place. No, you can do it anyway. You can do it as low as you want. You can literally be on the floor doing it, or you can be like really high doing it. It really doesn't matter, right? It depends on what your situation is in that fight. Is it safer to do it from a really high place, or is it safer to tether while you're on the floor, or is it safe to do in the middle? You know, it's really up to your judgment. Okay, so for the obvious part of it, Kit, is combining Lifeline with ultimate. So you know, AC 130, you know, tactical visor, Sky Noon. You could carry Bob. Quick tip with Bob is that Bob doesn't require confirmation for when you need to carry him, okay? So you should try and combo with your teammates to bring more value to their ultimates, right? So as I said, you know, Sky Noon, Visor to give them that LOS to create massive pressure on the enemy team. You could also just carry teammates to put them in a position to have to set them up for better ultimates. So what do I mean? If you have a Mei, you know, and the Mei needs an angle to use her Blizzard effectively, or Queen needs to be on an angle to, like, you know, ult them better. So for example, if the enemy team is here, like right here, right, and they're like sort of behind this wall, you carry your Queen and you put her right here, and then she just ults and then like gets a 5-man ult and things like that, right? Okay, so we talked about ult combos. So specifically for Sky Noon and Visor, or just carrying teammates in general that requires them to stay in the air and look at the enemy team while you're tethered, like Bastion, for example, as well, when he has his like rocket perk, right, is you try and sling your teammates around, all right? You need to do this sort of circular motion as I'm doing, so that your team is spinning around and it's not staying in one place, because they're just gonna be really easy to shoot. You can also try and use your boost as well, though I don't recommend it, because your fuel consumption and your regen is heavily nerfed. So just use it while you're just normal and fling them around. You can also use an 8 pattern as well, or just a circular pattern if it's a bit hard to pull off. You can also use your Lifeline to give a free positioning tool for immobile heroes. So example for Ana, you know, if your Ana's stuck here and she needs to get on this high ground, just give her a cheeky Lifeline, tether, and then jump here. If your Cass needs air, if your soldier needs air, so on and so forth, right? Cat is very good at positioning their teammates to better like angles and corners and so on and so forth. Right, so Fika's projectiles. As you know, Fika shoots these 2 paws, right? They have quite a horizontal spread, right? You could see how they shoot side by side, right? So I'm going to teach you the sort of optimal distance to play. There are 2 optimal distances to play when you're playing Cat, right? Which is the harassment distance, which is about 30 meters. Why is that? Because at 30 meters, your projectiles actually become centers and it spreads. Because the further away you are, the tighter the spread is, and well, that's kind of self-contradictory, but the spread increases, like your paw spread increases, and instead of it shooting horizontally, it goes spread like this and it closes, right? What do I mean by that? I'll show you now, okay? So if you look here, see how the paws shoot side by side? Whereas if you go to the sweet spot of 30 meters, or if I just show you gradually what it looks like, right? See how about 30 meters, it shoots on crosses, shoots on target, and the spread is quite big. Like it hits the neck and the head and the body as well, right? So this is a very good distance for harassment angles. So if you want to, like, you know, look for like an angle to, like, I don't know, like here, like a cheeky little angle just to like harass people at, you know, or here, you can do so. So the other optimal distance is you basically sit on top of the enemy, right? Like hit detection on a projectiles is really generous. Like it's massive as hell. Like it's quite hard to miss. And because her projectiles are slow, like the speed, and her fire rate is slow, don't try and track, right? It has a nice horizontal spread to begin with. The hit detection is massive. You don't have to go crazy with your mouse. Just use your movement to aim, right? The shots will land, don't you worry. It absolutely will. So just to sort of conclude, so I would say 0 to 5 meters is an optimal distance for fighting, as well as 30 meters as well for poking. Right, so Fika's Purr ability, it actually has quite a bit of tech, believe it or not. It's not just a burst healing ability. It could be used for quite a few things, right? So first of all is to boot people for 2 reasons: to peel for your allies and to miss their cooldown. So what do I mean by that? So for example, so this bot right here, there's like a Tracer on him, or there's a Reaper or a Winston or whatever. So what I do is I go on top of them, and once I'm on top of them, I use my E and it pushes the enemy team back, and it helps to peel for your ally who's like in trouble and needs peeling. So the other one is to miss their shots and for them to miss their cooldowns, right? So if you need to engage someone and you want to force a cooldown out of them, but you don't want to get shot, for example, on a sleep, is that you get close enough that you are within the range to boot them, right? So it's about 10 meters. So this is about the range you need to be in to boot them. So you shoot, and when you see like Anna to pull out her arm and like to shoot you, you just boop, and it just throws off her aim. She misses her sleep, and then you could just like confirm the kill after if you need to, or if you want to get out, and so on and so forth. Or like you're shooting a soldier and he's about to helix you. You shoot, and he's about to helix, boom, and then you land the shots and you kill him, right? And also, Fika's E is a scaling ability, right? Over time. So it starts with 1 burst of heal, and then second after is like 3 bursts, and then the final like 4 bursts, it does a lot of healing. Why is that important? I'm glad you asked. So the reason why it's important is because if you need to heal a crit ally but you're far away from them, you need to activate your Purr early, so then by the time you reach them, the ability is scaled enough, so when you reach them, it does massive burst heals, right? So what I mean by that, if I just reach to them and I use it now, right, it's gonna take some time. Whereas in this example, if I see their crit, if I activate it early and get to them, see, I get to burst heal them a lot faster than if I was to activate the first second of that ability. And the final use for Purr is to confirm kills and to boop them so their movement is predictable, right? Because obviously when you're dueling people, their movement becomes unpredictable. They're trying to miss your they're trying to force you to miss your shots, right? So they're gonna AD strafe, so on and so forth, right? So to help you with your aim, like for example, this bar is strafing left and right, right? So if I'm struggling to shoot, I can just hold on, I'll wait for them. I can just boop, and do you see how they're going in like a forward motion? It makes it easier for your shots to land. The same way as if you were to play a Larry or Lucio, where if you boot them in front of you, they are booped forward, so it's easier for you to land your shots. And to also, as I said, to confirm kills. How so? Is to, for example, if I'm shooting someone and they're literally about to get out, I can't reach them and I'm not confident in hitting my shots, I just E to finish the kill. This is especially good against like Anrons, Tracer especially, and it's a nice way to burst damage as well, but it's mostly used to confirm kills if you can't reach your target on time. Okay, another thing is to use your E for risky tethers, whether it'll be for Catnap or you need to transport your teammates. So example, if you know you have to like go into a 1v5 with Catnap, right, because it's like a die situation, it's win or lose, right, save your E, because it's very good for self-sustain, just in case if the person who's tethered is shooting at you, if their teammates, the enemy's teammates are shooting at you, the E helps you to sustain through the tether, because you are slower, you are very vulnerable when you use it. Also, Purr has a generous radius. You don't have to be on top of your teammate to proc it. As I said, it's 10 meters. This is important to know when you need to burst heal your allies, but you don't want to get shot doing it, or you don't want to get CC'd or anything. What I mean by that, for example, if this friendly bot here is in grab, I don't have to be on top of him and get grab myself to use my E. I can be at a safe distance, right? I can be this far and heal them. See? I don't have to be in the grab to heal them. Or I can be behind the corner as well, like here. I think it might be a tad bit too far. Let's have a look. Like, I don't have to be like here, yeah. I don't have to be out in the open to sort of heal them as well. See, this is good when healing tanks when they're trying to frontline and you don't want to expose yourself to it. Okay, this is the exciting part. Catnap, right? Right, we all hate Catnap, especially tanks, okay? Catnap is a very annoying ability, but oh my god, is it actually versatile as hell. Most people think that they should use Catnap to displace enemies or to get environmental kills more commonly. Let me tell you, there's so much to this ability than meets the eye, okay? And I'm gonna get into it now, right? So, first of all, you could use Catnap for extra mobility and to refuel your jets, okay? How so? First example is if you're using your jet and you're caught out in the open and you can't use your fuel, you can use your ultimate to quickly get away, right? You could also use it if you need to touch point to like proc overtime, right? So let's say like the point is like here, right? I need to use all my fuel. I can't make it in time and I use my ult. And with that extra fuel, I could use it to touch point or to live for the touch. Okay. Another one is that Catnap has a radial stun. It's a stun ability, right? So you can shut down important cooldowns and ultimates. Okay. What I mean by that, for example, right? D.Va just used her bomb and she's waiting to use her coal mech, right? So you could use your Catnap to deny D.Va's remech. Or another example is that Reaper is using Blossom, or Cass is using High Noon, or, you know what I'm trying to say? It makes sense. So an example for blocking important cooldowns is, for example, if the enemy Ram is holding block and they're like low health, you can Catnap the Ram, stun them, he doesn't have his block anymore, and your teammate can just burst down the Ramatra, right? Right, you could also use Catnap as a mini shatter, or like to basically open an engagement for your team, is to create an opening, right? Catnap's ultimate, the stun duration is half the time of Reinhardt's shatter, so it's 1.5 seconds. 1.5 seconds is a long time if you manage to hit multiple people, right? A good example is when, like, your team lost their positioning on the point in first point King's Row. You're on defense, everyone is stacking on point. You can use Catnap to stun everyone on that point and to create an opening for your team to capitalize on it, right? To get kills and stuff. Catnap is also very good for securing 1v1s. A lot of people want to save Catnap to just pull the tank off the map, but Catnap is a very, very good 1v1 tool. So, for example, if you're 1v1 in a Genji and you manage to force deflect, you can just, you could just use Catnap to cancel the deflect, and then you could just kill off the Genji, right? So like if you get in a 1v1 and like you want to use your claws out perk, the Genji deflex, you can't use it. Ultimate, and then after you ult him, just use claws out and finish the kill, right? Also, it's important that you want to reduce the cast time as much as you can when you use Catnap, right? You cannot Catnap when you're in the bloody skybox, alright? That's not gonna work. Look how long this cast time is. 1 Mississippi, 2. About 1.5 seconds. That's a long time. That's a lot of people can react to that, okay? So it's very important that you are very close to the target you want to Catnap, and also it's not obvious, like it's unpredictable. So for example, you sort of like hide here or right on top of them, right out of the LOS. Look how short this cast time is now. It's instant. They can't react to it. It's impossible, right? Double kill. You could also use Catnap to draw visual aggro because it's a very loud ability. It forces the enemy to look at you. This is also similar to the mini shatter concept, where you stun the people to create an opening. If you're in a situation where your team just cannot push through the choke, right, because they're all just looking down, just look for like a support to ult. Like if there's an Ana in their backline, like they're stuck in the choke, the Ana's helping them through, just ult the Ana, right? And just carry away. Just be a nuisance. Just be a mosquito, right? Because if you can't kill the backline with your ult, just use it to draw visual aggro. If you can do it so you can get at least 2 people to look away from the choke, you're winning for your team. It just makes them really easy for them to walk through onto the space that they're trying to hold. And also, you guys know this already, and I already mentioned at the beginning of this point, that you could use the Catnap to get environmentals and to displace the enemy's positioning. But I do want to mention a few things for it, right? Is that you need to be smart with your Catnap. You can't just Catnap anyone, okay? You need to track cooldowns and ultimates so that first of all, your Catnap doesn't get shut down. Like, you don't want to ult a golden Orisa, right? Nothing's gonna happen. You don't want to ult an Orisa that has gold available because she could just like not get Catnap. You don't want to ult a Reaper that has Blossom, right? Especially if you want to like carry them into your team. That could just get used against you really badly, and then you just look like a dickhead in front of your whole team. Okay, we don't want that to happen. Also, understand that when you ult a tank, you are slower, right? Whether it be your teammate or the enemy, you are slower. So if you're in a situation where you're sort of unsure if the ultimate is risky to go for because they might easily kill you, go for a squishy. Okay, you're much faster when you ult a squishy. You can get away with a bit more, right? So prioritize supports. Also, similar to the point of drawing aggro with your ultimate, if you're in a situation where you can't displace the enemy's tank's position like into your team because like it's just not a good play, or you can't environmental kill them, just take them away from the fight. Like for example, if there's an enemy Reinhardt standing on the objective and he's just holding shield in front of your whole team, just take him out of there. Like ult him and just carry him away from the fight, so you create a temporary 4v5 without an enemy tank, and it creates a massive player advantage. Also, you could use Catnap to deny objective touch, right? So for example, if you're like if you're in overtime, you're about to cap the point, the enemy swaps to like a Lucio or a ball, you can use your Catnap to deny the touch. So then obviously they can't extend the timer for the enemy's teammates to catch up, right? Also, a really good point, you could use Catnap to stagger enemy spawn, right? So especially if you want a team fight and there's like some stragglers left, like there's like, I don't know, a Woyang who is last to die, and he's like trying to jump off the map to like get in time with the spawn retimer with his teammate. You can catnap him and just bring him further away from his spawn, and you can get really crazy staggers. You can like add so much more time to the objective, especially if you're playing Koth, right? Okay, perks, right? Listen to me, okay? Y'all listen to me, right? Perks are very important for this hero, right? There are some no-brainer ones which I'll get into it, but I also want to shine some light on the less effective perks. So ulterior motive versus transport shielding. Okay, ulterior motive is good for two things for me personally. I don't use it, but I see the benefit of it. First of all, is to keep up with your dive tank, right? So if you're playing with a ball, if you're playing with a Winston, the perk is generally good to keep up with their movement, and it's also good as training wheels for fuel management. Okay, so if you're not that good at fuel efficiency, ulterior motive is good as it makes a lot, not a lot, but it makes it a bit easier for you to manage your fuel if you're like wasting it a lot, right? It's more forgiving. That's what I was looking for. Transport shielding is actually a low-key very good perk. However, it does require some like, it requires a geo basically, right? So what do I mean by that? Transport shielding gives you 75 shields over time within like, how long does it take? Let me check. I hope it's okay. It doesn't tell you, right? But it's over time. I think it's like within a second or two, right? It makes it so you can do greedier tethers on your teammates and especially your Catnap. You have a bit more survivability, right? Especially if you combine it with your Purr ability. If you save your Purr and you have shields you're transporting, you have Omega health. Your effective HP is crazy, and you could get away with absolute war crimes if you combine shielding, transporting, and hair E. Also, you could use shield transporting to give yourself extra HP before you get into a duel. Now, this is low-key a really good strat, but it does require coordination and it does require comms, okay? So what you do before you get into a fight, let's say you're playing with a Genji, you're playing with your Tracer, right before you engage, ask your Tracer if you can transport them for like a second or two, get your shield health, and then engage, right? So you go into that fight with 300 HP, and if you have like your Purr ready as well, you're basically a tank going into this fight with a flex DPS. It's actually broken. I highly recommend you do this with your duo, especially if it's a flex DPS. Okay, so major perks. Like, what do you want me to say, man? What do you want me to say? Claws Out is a must pick. There's no negotiation. There's no negotiation. Claws Out is just such a good perk, right? I know I have Headbutt here, but it was for the visual representation of the terminal velocity, right? Like, let's just have a look. Let me just reset my character so I can like show you right properly, and I could give it a full description.
Another battlefield.
Right. So, as you can see, it's 40 extra wound damage, and how much do you do melee as well? It's 40, so you do 80 damage for free. For free, you just have to go up to someone and just give them a little smack, right? And then combined with shooting and your ear as well, right? It's a fantastic perk. It makes 1v1ing so easy, right? It's a must pick, right? It's an amazing damaging perk, right? And it's so easy to use, right? I don't know what else to say for it, right? It's especially good against Kiriko because Kiriko doesn't cleanse with her TP anymore. She has to use Suzu. It's a great tool for dry fire damage. So for example, like if you don't have time to deal with a flex DPS, like you don't have time to mock them, but you know there's like a Tracer there, or you know there's a Genji there, just do a cheeky drive-by, shoot, boom, go, and you're out, right? And then you go back to healing your team. Like doing that, you put them at like such a low HP, they can't engage with that HP. It's a throw, so they need to go back, right? Especially if you're chilling, like you're healing your tank, you're healing your DPS squishies, and a Tracer goes onto you, just give them a quick smack and go back to healing, right? It's 83 damage. It's 83 damage. They can't do jack diddly down with it, right? It puts so much pressure on the person you're dueling or the flex DPS that's trying to flank you. So you're asking, so what the hell is Headbutt used? Headbutt does have its uses. I promise you it does. It really does, okay? So back when, before they nerfed Territorial, or that when they removed their rest in peace Territorial. What a broken fucking pair. I can't believe they added it. But when you could have Territorial and, sorry, when you can have English, you can have Claws Out and Headbutt, right? And it was a good combo tool, right? How so? Because when you use Headbutt, it actually does damage. I don't know how much it does. I believe it is 25. Hold on, I need to use this tech. Right, that's about, I think that's 30, right? So with melee, right? If you use Headbutt melee, let me just have her do that. That's about 20, 25, 50, 60. You know, that's a bit less than Falls Out. However, it is a consistent damage. It doesn't have a timer, right? It does not have a timer, so you can use it as many times as you want. So if you're drilling a Tracer, if you use the speed tech, you can be a lot closer and you could just spam it. Go this, do this, right? You can use it as many times as you want. So I haven't used it personally. I use Claws Out because it's just such an easy pick to use, but it does have its uses. Do not put it aside. It's also a great booping ability. So if you're going against a Wrecking Ball, you could use your boop to cancel his initiations, right? So like this, right? Boom, boom, right? You could triple boop. You could also use your Purr to boop them as well, and I'll show you how now. So you could sort of do this, right? Like that's a lot of distance, right? You could do that if you want to get some environmental, though it is hard to pull off. But yeah. Also, I need to emphasize with Claws Out, use it as much as you can, right? Especially because it's 6 seconds. You need to look to scratch someone every 6 seconds when you can, as soon as you can, right? Obviously, if you're in a situation where you can't leave your teammates alone because they need like important heals, as soon as they don't need healing, look for someone. Look to scratch anyone, right, that you find the highest value target you can, apply the wound effect, shoot them if you can. If you can't and your team needs help, just go back, but you need to maximize the hell out of Claws Out. Okay, so we mentioned all the perks. The final thing is the play style, okay? So the thing is, Kat is a very interesting hero because she feels like a main support, but she also does feel like a flex support. She's kind of in the middle. She's similar to Wu Yan, right? Where you usually see main support and flex support play this hero because Fika's got you know, lots of movement potential. She has great util and she has great healing. Okay, so you can play Fika as a flex or a main support. However, it is recommended that you play Fika in a main support playstyle. So what's the flex support playstyle? You obviously play Fika when you have another main support on your team, right? So you're basically heal bottom, right? So you need to use your cooldowns defensively. You need to use it to heal burst your allies, especially your tank. But you're generally focusing on keeping your team up. But you still should try and go for aggressive players. However, the rate of the aggressive plays you're going to be going for is a lot less than if you were to play like a main support, okay? So you like I said, prioritize healing your teammates, still try and go for aggressive plays when the opportunity presents itself. The second playstyle is the main support playstyle. So obviously you full aggro, you look to play with your flex DPS or any other DPS, for example, and you play super aggressive, right? You obviously you play in the enemy team's backline. You always look for opportunities to find a target with your flex DPS, and you go in and you just wreak havoc, okay? And then obviously you still need to heal every now and then, but the rate of you trying to support your team is like very little. If anything, you should be playing with your flex DPS and keeping them up, enabling them and them enabling you. And it's important for you to look for confirmation kills as well for your flex DPS. But yeah. And finally, the final playstyle is the mosquito playstyle, okay? Hear me out. If you're in a situation where your flex DPS can't do anything, your team is perma-dying, doesn't matter how much you heal, you need to be a little shit, bro. You gotta be the most annoying hero on the team, okay? Because Fika's got unlimited mobility, she's got very fast mobility, you need to play to pressure the enemy as much as you can while playing for your life, okay? A very good example is if you're playing against a Fire Mercy. You cannot kill a Fire Mercy. You can't, right? They have too much sustain and damage to punish you. So what do? You draw visual aggro. You make it so the Fire always has to look in front of you. And because it's a Fire Mercy, the Mercy obviously has to pocket the Fire. So that's one support out of the team fight, and the Fire has to look at you, so that's one damage out of the team fight. You're essentially in a 2v1, right? And you're opening up a 3v4 for your team, and it makes it very easy for them to walk forward. Another example, if the Ana is sustaining the hell out of their Orisa, like their Orisa is just stuff and choke, you can't do anything, she's cycling her cooldowns correctly, you go and harass the Ana. Okay, you go to the Ana, you harass, you force sleep, you force nade, you permanently have to have a look at you so that the Orisa doesn't have anyone to heal her, okay? So you're not killing the Ana, you can't kill the Ana because, you know, she's in a good position, you know, she has a main support with her, so on and so forth, but you just gotta annoy the hell out of them, okay, while playing for your life. That's important because you need to the magic behind this playstyle is it's continuous pressure. You always having them to look for you behind, because once you die, that's it. They're like, okay, I don't have to care about the cat anymore, whatever, I can do whatever I want. Also, some side notes to add for Fika's playstyle. In whatever playstyle you make, please, she has permanent flight. You have a lot more geometry to use than most heroes, okay? The only people that could use as much geometry as you can is Pharah and Echo, I think, and maybe Vendetta as well, okay? So don't just use walls when you're fighting, okay? You have so much more to use. Like, if you're trying to, like, you know, like, imagine this tank was the enemy, okay? Instead of just using walls to engage or to spam shot, use the roof, use this, or use this pillar, okay? Be creative. You have so many options to cover, you know. Like, don't be shy to be creative with what you can do, because you can close the distance a lot easier, and you can have much better fuel, more effective fuel consumptions if you're more smarter with your cover usage. Because like I said, you have a lot more to use cover. You have a lot more safe zones to use to escape to. Right. I'm gonna explain Cat's matchup. Sorry for whispering. It is quite late right now. But it's that simple, right? If you wanna win Cat's matchup, it's very similar to the Malcolm matchup. Is whoever uses their Purr first, whoever uses their E first, basically loses. So if you can manage to hold your E and you track the cooldowns of the other cat and see they use their E, you should look to engage on them as soon as you can, as you have the effective HP advantage. I forgot to add a specific section in the Catnap part of the video, so I'm going to explain it here in the final sections of the vid. So when you want to dodge cooldowns when you're catnapping your target, you've got to be more sophisticated with your movement, right? So this is what it looks like when you've catnapped your target. So this is you, and the black is the tether and the red is the enemy. So the target's just going to be below. You're not moving, so the tether isn't going to move. When you're moving at max speed to the left, as I indicated here, your tether's going to start looking more like this, right? This is usually what it looks like. It's not accurately drawn, but you get the idea, right? And it's going to keep looking like this until you run out of fuel, or you change directions, or you stop, okay? So, for example, if the red target is Diana, and you're taken in a specific direction, whether it be towards your team or towards like the edge of the map, she's gonna have a really easy time shooting at you, right? Like, because on her screen it almost looks like you're standing still, right? So for you to dodge it, the second that they're using the cooldowns, or right before they use the cooldowns, you need to change your direction so that the tether would swing this way and it will throw off their aim, right? And that's pretty much it. So you can either switch directions. So if you're going left, you switch right as soon as they use their CC cooldown, or you stop using your jet boosters, or you just stop your hero, like just completely stop, and it will completely throw off their aim and they'll miss their CC cooldown. When it comes to engaging on a target, you usually don't want to go right in front of them to duel them, as you give them quite an easy time to focus their camera on you and land the first shot. So if you always want to have a favorable duel, you should always approach them from an off angle, and it doesn't have to be like a super crazy one, like you don't have to come behind them, but it should be just outside of their field of view, right? So an off angle could be something like this, right? You can engage from here, right? You can come from here and engage from here. The best angle you can approach is from up top. You always want to start your duels from up top because it's the easiest to land headshots on your targets. Whereas if you were to go in front of them, right, it will be kind of hard to land the headshots, right? See? Whereas if you were to engage from the top, right, like because of the massive hit detection, you can easily land headshots. But yeah, never ever engage right in front of them. Always engage just out of their field of view. Best case scenario, you engage right on top of them, like so, or right behind them and on top of them, like that. Another thing for Fika's movement, if you don't want to have a glidey movement and you want to stop instantly without trying to counter strafe, just hold shift towards the floor and you'll actually stop instantly. Even if you boost, you'll stop very quickly. See, I'm not even trying to counter strafe and actually stops quite quickly. If I don't do it, if I do it as it is, see, you just sort of glide forever.